We got a 16-unit deal. A part of the deal was we had to keep a drug recovery nonprofit in place. So I became an owner of a drug recovery center where we're helping 150 guys stay sober. And so I feel like I'm adding more value, and we end up making $800,000 on this deal.
What is up, Growth House Podcast? I am your host, Jesse Ray. I'm here with one of my guys who I met probably like my first week ever in Arizona. I was at this Austin Rutherford meetup. My boy Gerardo invited me. I met my guy, Elijah Rubin. I was like, this guy's a super cool. Been following him on Instagram. You have an incredible story. You are the fire damage king. And like we just talked about before the podcast, you feel like the middle child because this dude's young, but he's been in the game since 2004. So Elijah, for the people, just fill him in. What is life like today?
Yeah, no, thank you, Jesse. Appreciate your opportunity to touch base with the whole fam here. You know, I like connect with like-minded people, winners like yourself. Yeah, I feel like, I do feel like Jerry Cook. I've been in it since 2004, before social media and like Google wasn't even popping like that back then to now, so I know all the old school guys in Arizona and I know all the younger guys in the industry, and being Arizona is one of the, like, we call it the land of the gurus. There are more gurus in Arizona than any place in the world, but you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right?
Dude, let's touch on that real quick because I keep hearing that, and I'm new to the guru space. I've had a coach for the last 6 years, bought courses, totally believe in that. But as far as Arizona and being this land of the gurus, like I didn't even realize like Robert Kiyosaki is here, like Dean Graziosi, like all the goats, all the guys that you read about them, you got their books, you bought their courses, they're here in Arizona. You've been here since 2004, is that correct? Or you just got into the game in 2004? You've been in Arizona as well.
Yeah, I'm born here. I'm a Phoenician, so I'm one of the originators, right? We got a lot of people couldn't make it their state. They come to our state and hate on us, right? But I started in 2004, and I think that's what kind of, iron sharpens iron. And when we got so much evidence of people winning success, kind of like if they could bake a cake, how can I not bake a cake? So you just get in there and get after it. So it feels like the 80s for other people might be younger back in the day, but in the real estate world, it feel like, hey, if they could do it, I could go out and do it too. Why can't I? So I feel, that hustle, ambition, and that drive to go and get it. You just see so much evidence around you.
I love that, man. So give the people an update. What is Elijah? What does life look like? What does the portfolio look like? Obviously, the fire damage king. Like, what is stuff that day to day? What's some projects that you're working on right now?
Sure. So right now, like I said, we got a really good chance to, a good opportunity with a lead provider, a lead Zello, a unique partnership we created with them. I was able to bring on two superstar partners, Alex Saenz and my guy, Mike Lima. We partnered together, and we're in the process of building $100 million portfolio all together. After doing 1,000 plus deals, nobody cares that you did 1,000 plus deals. Nobody cares. I mean, I don't want to do another 2,000 deals. I'd rather do 100 more deals and be retired, and passive income, impacting lives, inspiring others to be great. That's one thing I'm more passionate about than just close another seller, which I will do, but I want to be able to get more locked in. So the goal is in, 5 years, split. Everybody's going to have a $20 million portfolio and $100,000 worth of passive income coming in. We're using, we're nationwide. We're wholesaling deals nationwide. Where we currently have like 50 deals in escrow right now. So it's a big operation, but a small quality team of nothing but A-level players. So we have A-level players like we brought my fiance on, Jennifer Coronado. She's the COO, our top integrator. Mike is like a former CFO, but he's one of the partners. So we just got a lot of good people, anticipating needs, locking in, down things in. And I feel like we're super close of, setting things up where we use the wholesale fees that we're wholesaling now to acquire assets free and clear. So we have a whole portfolio of free and clear assets.
I love that. So walk me through that real quick so I understand and the audience understands. So using the wholesale fees to then go buy different homes, why wouldn't you use the homes that you're getting that have, I guess, the fire damage, because that's what you're mostly going after, and just keeping those homes and renting those homes out?
Very good point, a good distinguishing point. So on the fire damage deals, I get people send me fire damage deals because 8 years, I brand myself as a fire damage king. I have a coaching program. People send me fire damage deals all around the country. Those take a little bit more time because fire damage, a lot more challenges with it. like I said, through our unique marketing and our partnership, we have inbound leads nationwide, and we have about 9 to 10 major markets we're buying in. So we have some elite closers on our team, and they're closing these deals. We're taking those wholesale fees right now and building up our cash reserves, our capital. And then what happens after we build up our capital and our cash reserves, then we're taking some of those wholesale fees, and then we'll just be acquiring and holding these. So eventually, we won't be, wholesaling any of these. We're going to be holding the majority of these. Is the plan
Got it. And
over
then
the course of time.
what type of properties are you guys looking to, acquire?
So right now they're mainly single family, but very shortly, like right now we have a 20 units in Texarkana, right, where I got the seller to do seller finance and sub two with the crazy down payment we negotiated. So right now, in the future, we're going to we'll keep those ones, but right now we're going to make $100,000 up front and then $100,000 in a note. That's going to be good cash flow right now to build our reserves up. So this year is about setting up the process and setting the systems up and getting our capital up. And then the next 3 years is going to be really acquiring assets. And then that fourth and fifth year is all we're doing. The best use of my skill at this time and Mike Lehman's axe is just doing big deals, 7, 8 figure deals, apartment complex, portfolio deals, notes. That's all we're going to do in the last 4 or 5 years and really blow this off the top.
Man, that's exciting. I always love, and this is one of like the benefits, guys, of doing a podcast. You get to hop on here and we're talking about, $100 million portfolios. We're not talking about getting your first house hack. Like that's great. That maybe is step one that a lot of people who are listening are on right now. They're trying to get out of that corporate rat race. How do I make $10,000 a month in real estate? How do I make $100K a year? And so this is so important, though, when you hear other people. This is the association you want to get around. You want to get around the Elijahs. You want to get around the people who are actually doing these big things. So you start thinking bigger yourself. So Elijah, before we, nerd out on some topics I want to nerd out with you, let's take a step back. How'd you get into real estate? Was it wholesale first? How'd you get started?
Yeah, well, I was taking it and going back. I'm going back with you guys. All right, hop in the travel machine. All right, go back with me. Like I said, I started real estate back in '04 when I was 21 years old. So I started all the way back then, '04. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was really my sister worked for this ex-football player, and what I would do, I worked at every call center in Arizona at one point in time, and what ended up happening during my lunch breaks, I will go and bid at the auctions for them. So he give me $1,000. I go and bid at the auction. I finally won one deal after 4 or 5 months, and he paid me $1,000. It's the most amount of money I've ever earned at one time. Well, my sister got fired, and unbeknownst to me, I got fired. So I didn't know what to do for like 2 months. Like he was the one teaching me. I didn't know what to do. Remember, there's no social media. There's no YouTube for me to go and study courses. All I had was books at Amazon I could go and get. So I read what's his name? Not Robert G. Allen. What's his name? No Money Down. Carlton Sheets. I had a Carlton Sheets program, and I got the Carlton Sheets program. I just saw you could go and get for sale by owners. Circle for sale by owners. Got my first $10,000 deal. I didn't cash the check for the first 30 days because I thought I was going to go to jail. I thought this was fraud. I had braids at the time. I have no degree. I'm a black man with $10,000. I'm like, I'm going to jail. I had just a very low self-esteem and view and perspective of what my worth was at that time. So fast forward, so '04, '05, '06. By the time I didn't make any money for the first 9 months, made that 10,000. Then the following year, I made my first 100,000. Then '08 hit. '08 hit. All right. So I'm thinking, oh, everybody, I'm telling my sisters, I'm going to retire you guys. Don't go to college. You guys going the fool's route. Then I got, life hit me with some humble pie. 2008, the great recession happens. So I get before I got into real estate, I used to do club promotions. So I took some of my old street team guys and I'm going, hey, why don't you come and be my door knocking team? Because out here in Arizona, it's like 122 degrees. I knew just in club promotions, if you want to get relationships, you had to add value to do something that other people didn't want to do. It's super hot outside. Summertime, people take off. My door knocking team will be knocking doors in the heat. So I tried to add a value that way. Got a couple of deals knocked in. Fast forward to about 2010. Everybody's going out of work. Everybody's going out of business. Times is getting really tough. it's making really people aren't sure what to do with the business. And that's when I started. I started going after probate deals. My dad introduced me to the rabbi. He said, "Hey, do you know how to do these type of probate deals?" I'm like, "Sure, sure, I know how to do those deals." Did my first probate deal that led me to city violations. City violations led me to doing fire damage deals. And when I started doing fire damage deals for the first 2 years, I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. And besides, the big dogs out here, I'm like, "Hey, what do you do with these fire damage deals?" They're like, "Elijah, no, run away from those. Those are too hard. Don't waste your time." I'm like, "Well, if you're gonna be running away from them, I'm running towards them." And so that's what I started doing. I started running towards these fire damage deals. Fast forward a couple years later, I figured out how to get insurance money out of it, how you could get up to pay 3 times. You wholesale the deal, you help the homeowner gets more insurance money than they even know it's worth, because 80% of the time they're only getting 80% of the money, but they don't know it. And then I can help them find another property. So I'm helping them, I'm serving in 3 ways, and I'm getting paid in 3 ways on deals all my competition is overlooking. So did that for a while. That started to become really successful. Right before the pandemic happened, I started with my fiance, like, "Elijah, you can't be hoarding this information. God's not going to bless us unless we're from a mindset of abundance and start sharing this knowledge with people." Start sharing. We created a coaching program. She was my partner with my Fire Damage Profits program. We had the only fire damage Facebook group on there. Grew it to about 8,000 members, and we had our coaching program. Everything was going well. Then I got the 16 unit deal with my partner, with my current partner, Mike Lima, about 2 years ago. And through that partnership, we got a 16 unit deal. A part of the deal was we had to keep a drug recovery nonprofit in place. So I became an owner of a drug recovery center where we're helping 150 guys stay sober. And so I feel like I'm adding more value. And we ended up making $800,000 on this deal where we split. And so we're like, "Hey, let's start doing bigger deals," which led us into creating this portfolio through Closer Olympics. And that's where we're at now. Instead of doing deals, I'll always do deals, but I'm thinking about the big picture now. Being 41 years old, I don't want to do more deals. I want to make bigger impact and live the quality of life that inspire others.
You started doing the fire damage kind of mentorship, and then with your wife as your partner. You want to kind of take it from there?
Yeah. So you said with the fire, explain kind of what happened with the fire damage.
You talked about you're getting into bigger deals after you were doing like the coaching, and you made $800,000 off of, it was like a recovery center.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so I did the fire damage. I did the fire damage for about 4 years, and then like we're doing so good. Some of our students are doing so good. I mean, "You're doing 150,000 a month. Like, I need to do? What did I teach you? Can I get that recording again?" So I'm like, "All right." I mean, it's cool, and that's a gift and curse with it. And then law gurus, they'll feel the same way. When your students are doing almost as good as you are, like, what am I doing teaching? I should be out here doing it, right? But we did that. We added value. We saw that was working. And I really believe by you being a blessing to others, that's how you receive your blessings, And I really believe more seeds you plant, the more you harvest. So I feel like that's a lot of my give back I was doing. Before I even came up with Close Olympics with my partners, back in 9 years, maybe 10 years ago, I was one of the first people who just hopped on live, Facebook Live, and I did 100 calls episodes live, just calling sellers live. So that gave me the confidence to be able to put the skill sets out there. Like I said, and that allowed me to kind of create Close Olympics. And that opened up, as I was creating Close Olympics year after year, highlighting the best closers. I knew I had to keep my closing skills on board. I couldn't just be a closer from back in the day. Can you close still in this market? And so that allowed me. I followed up with this guy for like 2 years, following up, and I wasn't even calling him about the 16 units. I was calling him about another property, and I just happened to get him on the right day where he didn't want to. He didn't want to deal with this anymore, and he didn't want to deal with the property. He's like, "You know what, Elijah? I don't want to sell that property. I got another property I want to sell you. I want to sell you the 16 units. But for me to sell to you, you have to agree to keep the drug recovery center in place. You have to agree to keep things in place. And by you doing that for me, I'll go ahead and sell you the 16 units. I know I can sell for more, but I'll sell to you because, basically, if you don't do that, I'm pretty sure I'll sell this to you." So I felt really good about it. We ended up, agreeing to do the deal. I bought it for 1.7, and we end up selling for 2.5. And me and my partner split $800,000. So he got 400,000, I got 400,000. For the record, that is the biggest check I ever got in one time in my life. That had my name on it. That's all mine. I had to split that with portions of it.
If you're watching this, you already know who it is. Jesse Ray and Elijah Rubin, my guy. This is part 2. Man, appreciate you for hanging in there. I know we had a little bit of Wi-Fi difficulties, so now we're back, and we basically already kind of shared your story on how you came up, got into wholesaling, why you are the fire and damage king, and then we talked about Closer Olympics a little bit, and now we want to give the people what they come on and listen to the Growth House podcast for. The tactical information where you can actually not just listen and get inspired, you can actually hear this and be like, this is what I need to do. Right after this podcast, I'm going to go implement this into my business. Whether you're doing whatever you're doing, maybe you're not doing wholesale, whatever you're doing, you can take some of this and apply it into your business, into your life. So Elijah, I appreciate you coming back. Let's get tactical. You down?
Let's do it, Jesse. Let's do it, sir.
All right, man. So you specialize really in wholesale. You specialize in closing. You're on the phones. I want you to take this where you think people get the most value, and I'll kind of let you kind of run from there.
Okay. I want to, like I said, and I really love how you make sure the audience is knowing, hey, here comes the meat, right? Here comes the meat. And this is my favorite thing. What's it say? Knowledge is power, but knowledge is useless without application. And my favorite type of knowledge is immediate applicable knowledge. I want to hear it today. I want to use it tomorrow. I don't want to do no Pythagorean theorem that I ain't ever going to use ever. Right. So this is something I'm going to give you guys that helped me during the last downturn. Back in 08, remember, I've been doing this since 04, so 08 hit. No one told me about this, so it took me about 2010, 2011 to figure it out. I'm seeing this happening again now that the market's shifting, interest rates are high, things are a little tough. So it's called the 3x3 method, okay? This is a follow-up technique. And so what happens, a lot of people think, I need more leads. I need more marketing. I need more dollars. Well, if you don't got a lot of money, if you don't got a lot of marketing resources, or you might be starting out, you got to hustle in your spot and work with what you got. All right. And this allows you to exactly to do that. So this 3x3 method works like this. All right. So you get a lead, you talk with that seller, or if you can't get a hold of that seller, you call them once, you call them again. So double dial, and then you send a text. So you touch them 3 times. Then you're going to touch them another 3 times for the next 3 weeks until you get a hold of them. If you don't get a hold of them, then you're going to follow up 3 times a month until one of you 2 dies. Okay, so you keep calling those numbers, because guess what? Your competition ain't going to do that. Your competition is going to call maybe 2-3 times. I couldn't get a hold of them. I need more leads. No, you don't. You need to make sure you have a good process to hit every one of those leads, because those are leads. Either they're motivated sellers, inbound leads that they say they're interested in selling, and you got to do what your competition won't do. And in this right now society, delayed gratification gets paid a premium. And you'll get paid a premium if you do what the other people won't do. And this 3x3 method will give you a framework to do it. It's not complicated. It's super simple. You can use a Google Calendar if you don't have a fancy CRM. It's very simple. You just set the date. I'm going to set it up. I'm going to follow up with this date and just keep moving it every week until you lock in. So 3x3 method, once again, 3 times the first week, 3 times for the next 3 weeks. You're going to keep touching them, calm, then 3 times a month until one of you 2 dies. All right. And so that right there is going to give you, a jump in front of most of your competition, because most of them aren't going to do that. Okay. So that's going to allow you to at least stay in the game and not boost up your marketing expense, and then you're back working at the job somewhere. Okay. So this is one way to, repurpose what you got. All right. So now I want to give you guys something. So once you're on the call with them, I feel like one of my superpowers, what makes me a very effective closer, is that I take at least 7 to 8 no's without even feeling it, right? I'm able to take no's and move on from enthusiasm. Like, I don't even hear the first no until like 8, 9 no's, right? But not everybody do it. We call it the closer's callus. You have to get told. Think about it. For me to close 1,000 deals, how many hundreds of thousands of no's did I have to go through, right? So what I've discovered over here, I have an ebook, Mastering the Art of the No, and it's one of the techniques in there. It's called ARC. So now that you're talking with somebody, ARC, all right? You want to go over that first initial no, all right? So it's an acronym for absorb, recognize, continue. Absorb, recognize, continue, okay? So when the seller says, hey, no, Jesse, I don't want to sell my house to you. Well, a lot of times people are like, oh, okay, and click and move on to the next lead, right? Which we know, out of $300 million plus real estate closed, at least 2/3 of my deals all started with a no, right? You're gonna get 1/3 that's gonna, fall down laydowns, but you're gonna build a career or pay bills with laydowns. All right, so prepared for the no's are gonna happen. So this ARC techniques allows you to get past that first no. So absorb, recognize, continue. So what you do, you're absorbing it. Most people just kind of deflect the no versus absorb the no, acknowledge the no. So no, I don't want to sell your property. I'm not gonna sell my property, Elijah. Ouch. So I didn't say a whole word. I just made a comment. I paused and let that pause. Now that pause is showing that there's an interaction, that dialogue's happening. Ouch. Now, so that's absorb. Now, by me recognizing it, I'm going to repeat what they said back to me. By repeating what I'm saying back to me, you're mirroring and matching them, what they're saying. People like people who remind them of themselves. And if you just match back what they said, now they get the sense that I'm being heard. If you have your girlfriend, you have your fiance, fellas, we know, I just need to be heard. You don't hear me, right? Homeowners the same way. They want to be heard. They want to be valued and seen. So you say, so you don't want to sell your house. Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Now that's a question. Now that took that window from going to be a 10-second window. Now that opened it up to about 30-second window. Now your next question, let me ask you this. What if I can marry your property with my cash for holy real estate matrimony? Would that be something you're open for? Now, so you can start asking the same question multiple different ways. And that's another technique down the road. But this first initial one, ARC, absorb, recognize, continue. Absorb it by acknowledging what they said with a simple remark. Ooh, ouch, interesting. I see. And then absorb, you recognize by repeating what they said to you so they feel heard. And then ask another question and that continues the conversation. Because if they didn't hang up, guess what? It's still ball time.
Mm-hmm. Man, I wish I had bombs I could drop right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why, it costs so much to listen to this podcast and why it's behind, a $3,000 paywall, right? No, this is free game that Elijah is just out here giving. And so I just love the fact that you broke that down. I have a question because I think a lot of people, have this mindset of, especially new people, I'm bugging these people. Well, I'm going to follow with them 3 times in one day and then 3 times the next week and do this 3x3. So what's something that they can reframe their mindset? Because I was in sales. So like all this, I'm relating to. But what's something that you can help these people with that mindset of I'm bugging them, I'm harassing these people instead of you're actually providing the value to these people?
For sure. That's a great question. I'm glad that you really bring that up because our mindset, is probably our biggest objection to ourselves, to our own success. We self-sabotage in so many different ways, right? So a couple good things, a good framework to get yourself set up. So I'm going to give you guys 3 things, right? 1, before you even get on a call, I make all my guys, and even make my virtual assistants in the Philippines, everybody has to do their pre-call affirmations. All right, so I have a list of information, and I can provide those to you, just to the family, and that'll be my gift to everybody if they want to use them. I close over $100 million worth of real estate, and I do this when I started doing this side. And because you have to understand, we wash our cars, we wash our bodies, we wash our clothes, but we don't wash our minds. And then we're going to go into war. We're going to go into battle. We got beat up by the call that happened last time. We got beat up by the wife. I got the politics. I got the religion. I got all these issues that's constantly bearing down on me, bills. And then I'm supposed to tell the seller, like, yeah, sell the house to me. I'm bringing a lot of closer's baggage with me into the call. And you don't want to bring that closer's baggage with you because it's going to weigh you down and you won't be able to pivot as you need to. So first thing I recommend doing, pre-call affirmations. Like I said, I'll make it like 7 sentences, put some instrumentals on, change your state, change your energy. If you have a hard time with call reluctance, don't allow yourself to sit down in your chair until you make your first 10 calls. Reward yourself. You don't get to earn your chair until you make your first 10 calls. So those are some things to do. And then 2 other things I do. So right behind me is a vision board right there. All right. I'm really big on wherever you're going to be making calls, make sure your vision board. I got like 2 more right around me. And because you're going to get hit down, you're going to get beat down, and you got to remind yourself, what am I doing this for? Who am I doing this for? Who's going to benefit from me staying in the trenches and staying locked in? What has God promised me that my future will be if I stay obedient right here? And so that is going to allow you to stay in it and take it. And the last thing, the last frame that you need to really have with yourself, when it boils down to it, do you want to be possibly considered pushy, or do you want to actually be broke? Which one do you want? It's up to you. I'd rather be considered possibly pushy, because some of my doctors, some of the best attorneys might be considered pushy, but I'm not going to be broke. I refuse. I'm not going to tell myself no. I'd rather let the client tell me no.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. I love that. What about is marketing expenses? Is that something that you see wholesalers when they get in the game? They're like, they try to get away from the cold calling, right? Door knocking on the phones. So in my head, I'm like, oh, once you mention the marketing expenses, they probably just jack up their marketing, even though they just haven't done the work. Do you see that happen a lot?
Absolutely, because remember, it's human nature to want to do the easiest, simplest thing possible. Okay, and in this society, I mean, I got Instacart, I got Instagram, I got Postmates. I don't have to wait for nothing, right? That's not reality of success, and this is part of the ugliness of success, that sometimes you don't have big budgets, and so always spending more money at it is not always the solution. I understand some of the gurus will tell you that because that's how they get paid sometimes, but at the same time, the ones who are true, they're going to tell you, yeah, put the marketing dollars together, but have a follow-up side, have a discipline side, and have a good mindset. If you have those three things, you have a good discipline, good mindset, and a good follow-up process. Those three things are going to be way more important than just having more marketing dollars, put out more money, because I can help other people close their deals. When I first started, I didn't have no marketing dollars. I went to all the networking events and told them, hey, any deals you can't close, let me close those deals for you. Let me take all your leftovers and I'll cook up a whole Thanksgiving out of your leftovers. And so that's what you're able to do. If you have no dollars, you can add value to other people if you have the right mindset. You have the discipline to call leads that maybe be perceived as cold or old leads, and you have a follow-up to touch, because this is a timing sport. This is a contact sport and a timing sport. You got to touch people, and it's just all a matter of that time, that one day the AC goes out, the one day, the wife decides they want to leave, and you got to be on the call.
So good. Talk to me about, we just went over, call affirmations. We went over the 3x3 method, the ARC method. Talk to me, once they have these cooking, right? They're getting some deals. What's the next step? How do you scale? And is a wholesale business scalable?
Yes. I believe most success is scalable if you do these three things. And I'm swagger jacking, so I gotta give a shout out to Chris Ranzio with Train You'll. It's my boy. But it really applies, all right? You gotta do it, document it, then delegate. Do it, document. Too many people barely do it at all. They don't document anything, and then they want to delegate. Let me get my VAs here. Mellors go out there. PPC goes out there. I get $100 million and I get my Bugatti and get out of here, right? That's Instagram. That's not the reality. The reality is, once you do it yourself, document your processes, take time, get the book traction, really get with them. I mean, there's integrators you can work with that you can just pay to consult you to help mind map out your processes. And then once you do it, then you start delegating, get some people who help you off with sales, because if there's no sales and deals coming in, the rest of the machine doesn't go. So that's something you could delegate, but don't delegate closing. Delegate that front end initial touch person who's doing those follow-ups, those 3x3 follow-ups, so that they are setting appointments for you, so that you are able to say, hey, I'm able to start getting some quantifiable numbers in place to say, every 50 deals, every 50 leads I touch, I make 10 offers. Out of 10 offers, I close 2 of them. So now I could start scaling up. Now I could start bringing people in to start handling those numbers and have a predictive number that I could quantify to start making revenue. And then I could start freeing myself up. Then I could start doing bigger deals. I could start looking at portfolio deals. I could start looking at rentals. I could start doing more sub twos and acquiring my own portfolio for myself. But most people want to jump there and don't document it, don't delegate, don't have their numbers to know this is, now I'm ready to do that. They do it really prematurely. And unfortunately, if you do it too fast, which a lot of people, I see a lot of people do, you go to these events, you get hyped up, you see everybody else making money, you have a little bit of money, you max out the credit cards. Well, if you don't know your process and you don't know your numbers, your expenses are still going and you don't know where the leak's in the boat. And you're sinking. And because of the shame and embarrassment, you don't talk to people, you don't lower your expenses, and then you go out of business. And you're working at 9 to 5. So this process It's a little slower. It's not sexy, but sustainable.
So good, bro. So let's talk about, you mentioned like rentals, portfolio. When should people, you're making money wholesaling, right? What's the average? I mean, it probably depends on so many different things, but like an average wholesale deal that someone who's just starting, what does that look like? Is it 5,000? Is it 25?
It depends. I mean, obviously that varies from market to market. If you're in Idaho, you can be a little lower. Detroit, you can be a little lower. But if you're in California, it might be a little different, right? On average, I think the national average is roughly about 8 grand. Is the national average right now. So I think average 8 grand. And I think, I have some Jewish fundamentals, so I want to make sure my expenses, my income always reach over covers my expenses. So I'm not going to free myself until you really have all your expenses covered, not just your marketing expenses, your lifestyle expenses too. All right. So until you have your lifestyle expenses and your operational expenses covered, don't think about trying to scale up and do a bunch of other things yet because you're not ready for that. So really finesse the basics, cover your bills. The real flex, right, is can you pay 3 years of expenses off? Can you spend a year? Do you already have a year of expenses covered, already in bank account on auto payment? I recommend at least have 6 months of expenses covered before you start saying, all right, I'm ready to start doing some other projects. I'm ready to start swerving on my lane a little bit because I have processes and teams and reserves covering me that warrants me to be able to go out so that if I start dipping on my numbers, my expenses, my reserves will cover me so I can always step in and don't fall flat on my face. So I think about 6 months of reserves for both life expenses and business expenses is the perfect time to really start investing. Can you get a sub two here and there? Sure. I'm not trying not to, but to really take your eyes off the ball, don't do that until you have those covered.
Right. And then what asset class do you like? Like if you were starting from scratch right now, you started making, let's just say 20 grand a month consistently. You have those 6 months in business, 6 months in personal. What would you start investing in as someone who's maybe, just starting off?
What I will start off, I mean, it kind of depends where my lead flow. Do I have access to a lot of opportunities? If I do, then I might do some of my own opportunities, sub twos. Some of these deals, I might do private money lending to some of these deals. A lot of probate deals, you do private money lending, you get paid interest. If they don't pay you back, you get a property. So it's a good use of doubling up on your cash as far as investment. Another thing I would highly recommend, depending on where your cash flow and where you're at, assisted living facilities. You could do what's called fractional ownership. So you don't have to put up all the money. You might only have 30 grand, 100 grand. You might be able to partner and be a fractional owner of assisted living facility building. So you're not running the business. Somebody else running the business, they need to raise capital. They always need more capital. You putting your capital with them, that is a stable, solid investment because everybody's going to get older and everybody's at some point is going to get sick. And that's with our society and how we're eating and how all the things we're doing. We're just getting more sicker as a society. So this would be more prevalent the older we all get.
Hmm. Let's talk about active versus passive income real quick. This is like
Okay.
something I was sold, right? I was sold
Mm-hmm.
like, Jesse, it's all about financial freedom. What you need is just that passive income number to be over your expenses. And so my whole story was, working corporate sales, saved up a bunch of money, started buying some houses. And then long story short, my job actually fired me because I was still in training. I was at a new company. They decided to cut the team in half. And so they tried to hire me again, like the next day with a little bit lower salary. And I was just looking at my rentals. I'm like, wait a minute, this is what I've always dreamed of. If I have, 10 to 15K coming in from these rentals, I don't need my job. And so I basically said, hey, you guys can't afford me. I don't need it. And so that's how I kind of left corporate America. And then a year later, I'm like, wait, it's kind of hard to scale if you're just living off of your passive income. You don't have that cash cow. You don't have that active income coming in. So that's why I was like, oh man, now I want to actually build a business. I kind of took chips off the table security wise. I'm good. My lifestyle is, paid for through my rentals. But then I realized I need that active income again to keep scaling. And also just as an entrepreneur, you can only go to the beach and get sunburned and drunk a couple of times before you're like, what the heck?
What
Like
else?
people tell me like, that's all I want to do is lay by the beach. I'm like, trust me, I've done it multiple times. It gets boring quick.
Right,
So
right.
what's your whole concept and thought about that? Did you see that going on for quite a while where 10K of passive income and you're good for life?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. At first, because remember that first $1,000 deal you get, oh, this is the biggest. then what's it? Was it Parkinson law, where like whatever you get, you're gonna eventually consume and use, right? Then $1,000 not that valuable anymore because your lifestyle grows, your expectation. You get to that mountaintop, then you see a new mountaintop. And I think a lot of people kind of get mesmerized by the passive income, which is very good because now you have the rat race, which is super important to do. You do not have stress and have control of your time. However, your time, even though you have control of it, it's the most valuable commodity you have. And so you got to be either earning, learning, or churning, right? So you better be earning, basically making more money with your active income so that you can do bigger and better things for your family. You can start building wealth. This passive income might not be wealth. Wealth is sustainable, might be good for your lifestyle, but might not be taking care of 3 generations worth. And so you start thinking about your future. So are you earning bigger funds so you can build something bigger than just for you? That you got you covered. Are you learning? So it doesn't mean you have to go out there and start earning, but get a return on your time. Are you learning to be a better version of yourself? Learn to be a better leader of yourself. Learn to be more influential around people, your circles. Are you adding more impact on people that you and causes that dear to you? So you live with purpose. So you're just not drinking margaritas all day on the weekend and then dying, right? And then are you churning? When I say churning, are you doing the uncomfortableness? Most people will do anything to avoid discomfort, anything. And understand that discomfort when you had to leave that job, felt a little level of discomfort, but it forces you to step up. Embrace that discomfort and find what is it that I'm scared of doing? What is it that's still holding me back? Now I'm at this level, and embrace that because that's gonna on the opposite side of that is probably where some of your fulfillment is. It's probably a little bit of your purpose is. And you won't do that if you don't think you have to do anything to get active income. You won't do that if you think passive income is going to find you will play at a very low level. And I don't think you get the most out of your skill sets and out of life that you want to live.
That's so good. And honestly, it reminded me of something that I realized. I'm like, man, if I'm, helping people and myself just get that passive income to a certain number to afford my own lifestyle, that's so selfish. Like, I gotta remember, like, I want a family one day. How much is that gonna cost? It's probably gonna be triple your own, probably maybe 4 times.
Right,
So
right. You can your wife.
it depends on who your wife is. But like that's so real. Like you gotta think beyond just that end game of yourself and what's bigger. And that's where you have that, like you said, that fulfillment. And that's when the purpose and passion and everything, like you actually feel, it's a real success. The financial stuff, the business stuff is just one aspect of success. And I see people time and
Right.
time reach that and then look back and be like, oh shoot, I forgot all those other areas of my life. So, bro, this has been a great conversation. I think we're probably going to do a part 2 at some point. You have to come to our Growth
Whatever.
House community and, talk to us. So I'm excited to continue this relationship, bro. What I want to end this on is the fact that we are a go-giving community, meaning no one's going to hit you up and say, hey, Elijah, I heard you on the podcast. Can I pick your brain? If they do, tell me, and I will block them from my Instagram and the rest of my life because we don't want to be around those type of people. We want
Nice.
people that provide value up front, right? So for us as a community, we have people that are 9-figure entrepreneurs. We have people who are just getting in the game. So what's like 1 to 2 things that we can reach out and provide value to you first before asking anything from you?
Sure. Once again, thanks to the whole growth health community. Thank you, Jess, for the opportunity to share with the family. Like I said, it feels like I feel like God allows me to be a conduit and be able to share my stories, my experiences with people. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so. What you guys could do in exchange for me, one of 3 things. One, if you guys have any fire damage, water damage deals that you guys don't want to do, commercial, multifamily, single family, land, former land, I deal with them all nationwide. Obviously, I want to be in 250, 300,000 plus markets. So once you rebuild it, there's some value there. So that's something if you guys if you're stuck with them or you need help with them, definitely reach out. Second, looking for top closers to join our team. We're doing $100 million portfolio nationwide. So you can never have better quality closers. So any quality closers that experience some success but realize, man, it's pretty expensive. I want to be a part of a team. I want to rock with the best. We're looking for the best. And then last but not least, go and support Closer Olympics. There's replays at Closer Olympics. The last 3 years of the best closers in the country. Support that. Make sure your team sees the Closer Olympics. Make sure you're watching them. And yeah, that's what you guys can do to support the fam.
And then I want to ask you, Closer Olympics, do you think people can get value even if they're not wholesalers?
Absolutely, because the art of closing is selling enthusiasm, my thoughts to your thoughts, and we both feeling good about that new thought. And so, just being able to, it's no teaching, it's no PowerPoints, it's all live doing. Some of the top closers in the game putting their brands and the skill sets on the line, and you can't fake the funk. You can't fake a seller saying, "Yeah, I'll take 60% on my house." You have to find value, connect with them, build urgency, and get them to say yes. And there's always valuable ways of seeing different techniques what matches the marriage with your skill set.
So if you're tired of those courses, you're tired of people just talking about it, you're tired of those PowerPoints, you want to see people actually live closing, that's what you need to check out. And Elijah, you haven't done an interview in a while, and I actually love the reason because you were doing the thing. You're not just this guru out here that is talking about it. You did it years ago. Like, you're still in the game, been in the game since '04, closing deals. So I appreciate you, man. I know you're, got a fiance and you're busy. So I just want to say I appreciate you, dog, for hopping on the podcast. And with that being said, Jesse Ray, Growth House Podcast, real quick, how do people find you?
Yes, you can reach out to me on Instagram, Elijah Rubin, Facebook, Elijah Rubin. Like I said, that's probably the easiest, fastest way. And then, like I said, I'm really big on each one, teach one, each one, reach one. Got your way today. Be a blessing to someone, y'all.
That's a mic drop. We out.
This is Elijah Rubin. I've been doing real estate investing for over 20 years, closed over $300 million worth of real estate transaction. I'm going to show you how you could do it too.